What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, before I get into the video, I want to remind you guys, as always, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to Too Raw for TV, please subscribe to Too Raw for TV. If you haven't hit that notification button, hit that notification button so that you'll be notified of any video that drops on my channel as soon as it drops. And also, if you like or at least appreciate the content on this channel, please hit that like button. These are things that help not only my channel, but other channels in the LDBC, the Lions Den basketball community, be that much stronger. If you want to support Too Raw for TV, if you want to show love for Too Raw for TV, you can do so via the PayPal or the Cash App if you can. But I'd much rather you guys come over to the Patreon. YouTube is making some big changes lately. They're going to start targeting certain channels, and a lot of channels are going to be terminated because of this huge lawsuit that YouTube lost. So around December 10th is when the crackdown is going to start beginning. And I strongly suggest that if you support Too Raw for TV to come over to the Patreon. Hopefully this channel doesn't get taken down. All right. I know we're all trying to make steps to prevent that, but just in case, come over to the Patreon for only $2 per month. And on the Patreon, I'm able to talk about stuff I can't talk about on YouTube anyway. All right. So I know you guys been waiting on this one. James Harden scored 60 points against the Atlanta Hawks last night. 60 points in 3 quarters. And he set an NBA record for fewest field goal attempts to 60 points. He shot, I think, 16 of 24 from the floor, 8 of 14 from three-point range, and 20 of 23 from the foul line. How he shot that many free throws, I have no idea. He shot more free throws himself than the entire Atlanta Hawks team. In 3 quarters, mind you. Think about that. He shot 23 free throws in 3 quarters. Think about it. When Kobe had his 62 against the Mavericks, at least Kobe was driving to the basket. He was getting hit. It was obvious contact. Maybe there was a few superstar calls, but for the most part, there was contact. I'm just saying. But anyway, Harden set an NBA record for fewest field goal attempts, 24 to 60 points, that was previously held by Karl Malone, who shot 20 of 26 from the floor in his career high 61-point effort. And I remember it was a blowout win against the Milwaukee Bucks back in the 89-90 season. It was a lot of career highs back then in that season. That's the season Tom Chambers had his 60-point game against his former team. I think it was the Seattle Supersonics. At the time, he was with the Phoenix Suns. Patrick Ewing had a career high game that season, 51 points, I believe. I think it was against the Boston Celtics. Jordan, of course, had his career high 69 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think it was March of that month. And yeah, But anyway, I just got to say this. That was more. That was further evidence that game of why Giannis. If you looked at the games last night and saw what happened last night, that was further evidence of why Giannis Antetokounmpo should win the MVP award over James Harden. Because last night showed the difference between the two individuals, the teams, the philosophy, what they're all about. You see, Giannis was one rebound shy of a double-double. And coming into last night's game, Giannis had 19 consecutive double-doubles to open up the season. And he was getting pretty close to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I think, who opened up the season with I want to say 26 double-doubles or something like that. And the record for most consecutive double-doubles to open up a season was held by Bill Walton with 35. But Mike Budenholzer, saw that And like, I don't care. I'm not risking this guy getting injured. We're up by a sufficient amount of points. We got the win. I'm not risking this guy. This game isn't about statistical achievements all the time. It's about honoring also. And also, I think that it's disrespectful to the opponent sometimes, especially when it's not within the flow of the game, to just go for numbers and statistics. You know what I'm saying? So Giannis' streak was broken. You know what I'm saying? But Giannis didn't get an unnecessary injury either. James Harden, if you didn't know before that he was a selfish stat stuffer, the most selfish stat stuffer I've ever seen in my life, I know you guys have accused Russell Westbrook of it. I'm not going to sit there and say that Russell hasn't stat stuffed, but this guy is the most selfish player. No, 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 no. Take that back. It's beyond that now. James Harden is the most selfish athlete in sports history. First of all, if you're up by 30 points at halftime, why are you so offensively aggressive in the third quarter? I can see if your team is down or it's a close game. You know what I'm saying? I understand that. I even understand if the game was close in the fourth quarter and it blew open a little bit, and you want to get, like if it's the fourth quarter and your team is up by maybe like 8, 9 points to go with 5 minutes to go. Okay, it's close enough to to be an excuse for you to keep shooting, even though in your mind you're kind of going for a mark. I can understand that. But when you're up by damn near 50 points in the third quarter and you're still shooting the fucking ball, and then you visually get upset because you didn't crack your career high, you are a selfish fucking person. You are a selfish fucking dude. All you do is play for numbers. And because of that, you should be denied any and every fucking individual award that you're trying to get. I'm absolutely, don't get me wrong. He shot the ball well. He had an efficient night. But he really should not have. It's disrespectful to opposing team. Maybe these guys are built different. But if I'm on the opposing team and I'm getting this beating, I'm taking a beating by 30 points, 40 points, and I see that the star player is trying to pad his numbers in a blowout. If this was 1989, even if this was 1999, and I'm on the Miami Heat and I'm Kirk Thomas, I'm gonna knock your motherfucking head off, James Harden. If I'm the bad boy Pistons, I'm gonna knock your fucking head off. If I'm Karl Malone, I'm gonna elbow the fuck out you. I'm gonna elbow you if you drive in the hole like Karl Malone did Isaiah Thomas. If this is bump and thump, Charles Barkley and Rick Mahorn, and you come in trying to go for a layup, I'm gonna knock you on your motherfucking ass. Because you're gonna pay a price for trying to embarrass us on national TV, staying in a goddamn game where you're up by 40 and you're trying to pad your numbers. I understand it's a different era, all that shit. I'm sorry. There's some shit I'm not gonna accept. I accept the 3-point shooting, happy, aspect of today's game. I despise it, but I accept it. I'm trying to understand the lack of defense, you know what I'm saying? But one thing I'm not gonna accept is you showing up the opposing team, and you knew you were playing up against a bad team tonight. You knew you was playing up against the Atlanta Hawks, who are only, 4-15 coming into the game. That's my issue with this dude. For the most part, yeah, he had a 47-point game against the Clippers, but for the most part, whenever he goes up against a good team, and we always see it time and time again, he always fucking chokes. You don't see these fucking 60-point games or 50-point triple-doubles in the playoffs. And people want to say and compare him to Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Get the fuck out of here. You think Kobe Bryant would have sat there and kept shooting the ball against a bad team like this? And don't use the 81-point game as a reference, because you're wrong if you do that. First of all, that game was close at halftime. That game was close. I can't remember if the Raptors. You know what? I want to even say the Raptors might have been up at halftime. I can't remember, but it was close. All right. Kobe scored 55 of his 81 in the second half, and it was in the fourth quarter when that game blew open. Now you can maybe say the last dozen points Kobe might have stat padded a little bit, but by that point, who gives a fuck? That's a whole different scenario. And they only won by like 20 points or something like that. I think it was like 122. I can't remember the final score, but it might have been more than that. But the game opened up in the fourth quarter. It wasn't a blowout at halftime. That's showing up your opponent. That's all this guy care about is his points. He always get visibly upset when he sees that he's not reaching his mark. You could see it. He wanted 60. He wanted to go over 61, and he didn't do it, and he got mad. This is the most selfish motherfucking I've never seen someone so fucking selfish. You're a fraud. Too Raw hating on James Harden. Yeah, god damn it. He's a fucking fraud. If this was the 80s, if this was the 90s, this guy, I'm telling you now, would not be putting up these numbers in that era. He would not be doing it. He wouldn't be getting the same calls. Number one, these ticky-tack calls. Number two, he would be getting called for traveling much more often. The shot selection that he takes back, if he was taking these types of shots back then, the coach will be yanking him out and calling him a showboat. If you think I'm lying, think about, what was his name? J.R. Ryder. J.R. Ryder would be awesome in this era too. You know what I'm saying? Um, but he would be seen as a showboat, and his shot selection would get him on the bench. All right. I remember Larry Bird once said, if a scorer shoots under 45%, he's going to the bench. See, efficiency was looked at differently back then. If you were a great scorer and you were shooting 39% from the floor, 40% from the floor, or you were perceived as a great scorer and you were shooting only 40% from the floor, you wouldn't be starting. They'd be looking at your field goal percentage. And like I said, back then he would be getting all these foul calls. And he'd be getting called for traveling a lot more, and people be looking at his turnovers more. And he only has really three moves: his step back three and drive to the basket. And the drive to the basket back then, when you got Shaq, Dave Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, uh, Alonzo Mourning, Rick Smits, Dikembe Mutombo, earlier in the 90s, Manute Bol, earlier, Mark Eaton, you know what I'm saying? Marcus Camby, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm forgetting a lot of big men. That was still an era where the big man was dominant. And him driving the basket like that will get that fucking ball smacked in his fucking beard. You know what I'm saying? A totally different game back then. The lanes were clogged up with big men. You know what I'm saying? Shit, Otis Thorpe, uh, Damn, what's his name? Can't think of his name right now. Played with the Portland Trailblazers for a long time. Started his career with the then New Jersey Nets or Goggles. Can't think of his name right now, man. But that era was totally like just so many big men, man, back then, man, and the league was totally different. And the shit that he's doing now, he wouldn't be doing back then. I think at best in that era, James Harden would be what he was with the Thunder, a 15 points per game guy coming off the bench. He'd be looked at as maybe a strong six man. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Nah. And his lack of defensive ability would hurt him back then. You still had to play defense back then. You had to give effort. You had to get effort back then. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't get no effort, your ass be on the bench. And that's why I say back then, his game, his shot selection, his lack of defense, he would just be a pretty good scorer come off the bench. That's it. This era helps his game. He's not an all-time great player. Do you know how many points Kobe Bryant could average in today's NBA if he was just about points? If he was just about points, staying in with blowouts. Do you know how many points Michael Jordan could have averaged for his career if he was just trying to score points? There were so many games that I used to watch the Bulls play when they were winning championships, and they were becoming like more a team-oriented team. It wasn't just Jordan and the Jordan-airs. You know how many games I was wishing as a little kid that Phil would keep Mike in so he could score 50? Now, mind you, Jordan had 39 career 50-point games if you count the playoffs and regular season, 31 in the regular season, a record 8 in the postseason, which is why I'm so adamant about people getting it done in the playoffs and not just the regular season. But anyway, do you know how many times I'm like, damn, Mike got 45 with 5 minutes to go. Keep him in, Phil. Nope. The Bulls up 18. Come on, Mike. Ice the knees. Take them out. Nope. I used to get mad because I was a little boy, a little fanboy, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old. But some of you motherfuckers are grown ass men. Grown ass men. Last night, man, they should have kept James Harden in, man. He could have broke Kobe's 90. You know, that would have been remarkable. Even though the game, they're up by 80 points, but it would have been remarkable. He playing against one of the worst teams in the NBA, but that would have been remarkable. Man, James Harden, they should have kept him in for 70. Oh man, it'd been awesome if he could. Man, shut the fuck up, man. What the fuck is awesome about blowing out a fucking team by 60 points and you still in the goddamn game? What type of sportsmanship is that? Jordan had 10 career 49-point games. 10. I remember it was a game in the last year he played with the Bulls. The game went into overtime. I think they were playing the Clippers. I think it was November '97. And Jordan had 49 points. Well, every point that he took, every basket that he scored, they were meaningful baskets. Those were baskets that the Bulls needed. He didn't really, especially as they started winning championships, he didn't really pad his numbers anymore. Jordan used to say all the time, there was a part of his career after he started winning titles. Jordan used to say, yeah, there was a time where I kind of used to play for numbers a little bit. But once he started winning championships, he could care less about numbers. He was only more concerned about winning championships. Jordan could have took a ill-advised shot, not ill-advised shot, but Jordan could have took a couple of jumpers and got 50, but he held the ball. He held the ball, dribbled it out. You know what I'm saying? The Bulls were playing music, dun 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 dun. All they care about was winning. This dude, all he cares about is numbers, and because of his mindset and the style of play, and him and Russell Westbrook together, you know what I'm saying? I love Russell, but Russell is Russell. Because of the way they play, they're gonna win a lot of games. James Harden gonna have a lot of games in the regular season against bad teams where he scores 50 and 60 points. But in the playoffs, especially when they start stepping up against the better teams, like either if it's gonna be the Lakers or Clippers or whoever, when they play against those teams, James Harden's gonna show you who he really is, which is a choke artist. And when the pressure, when the pressure gets high, that's when he chokes. I can tell you this shit in December, and it's not even fucking May yet. I know what's gonna happen. He gonna choke. Why? Because he's done it every fucking year. Every fucking year. After a while, a person shows you who they are. All right? After a while, a person will show you who they are. I don't need no more convincing. He's going to choke. Okay? And then people are gonna say, "Oh man, well, they're gonna try to blame Russell Westbrook, or they're gonna make excuses for him." Well, James Harden's been doing it every year, year in and year out. He just had a bad game. No, he always have a fucking bad game in the playoffs when they get eliminated, or a bad quarter. I'm sick of that shit. So I don't care how many points he scored in a game in the regular season. It doesn't matter how many points he scores in a regular season game against the Atlanta Hawks. Even the announcers in the game last night alluded to that. Do this shit against the Clippers. Score 50, score 60, and not no regular season shit. Score 50, score 60 against the Clippers and the Lakers. All right, in the playoffs. When defenses are keying on you. Remember, you complained about that. Oh man, these guys are DM me up. It's supposed to be easy, you fucking Bluto beard bitch. No, it's not gonna be easy. This motherfucker not top 50, man. Get this clown the fuck up out of here.